Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Marty. If you're new, welcome. Today's adventure brings us to Luray, Virginia, specifically to Luray Caverns. I don't know if you know this about me, but I have an infatuation about caves. I love everything about them, and it's been a long time since I've actually been to an underground cavern. And here in Luray, Virginia, Luray Caverns is the largest geological underground caverns in the eastern United States. I've never been here before, but I'm really excited to experience this and share this with you. Now, a ticket for an adult is $36, and that ticket includes a self-guided tour of the caverns. Takes about an hour, but you can spend as much time as you want, which I plan on doing. And it also includes the heritage site, which has like old colonial buildings. We'll go over there. It also includes a old vintage car museum, which I heard is really awesome. We'll check that out. And there's a whole area of like toy trains. Now, for an extra cost, there is a ropes course and a huge hedge maze for an additional fee, and they're not that much. I think they're around $11. I don't know if I'm going to be doing those, but I will show you them. So without further ado, let's get underground. I hope you're ready. I know I am. Let's go do this. So the parking lot here, it's really big, and all parking is free. Just park your car, and you come right up here to the visitor center, and you go right inside and you buy your tickets, and it's that easy. Once you're done buying your tickets, they give you your pamphlet and brochure and informational guide, and you come right over to the side of the building and head on in. And this is the entrance to the caverns right here. Take a nice path, and I also heard there's no steps involved. So, completely accessible if you have any mobility issues. Nice, easy walk. Even walking down to the caverns, it's just really pretty. It's a beautiful day. It's about 75 degrees. I heard inside the cavern it can get a little chilly, around 56 degrees, but very humid. And I didn't even bring a jacket, so I may regret that, but I'll let you know once I'm inside. All right, I've scanned my ticket and we are in. This is basically starting to go underground. You can see the caverns are quite extensive. I'm really excited about this. There is actually an organ that sometimes there is a performer that will play in the caverns. Oh, this is so cool. All right, I switched the camera into low light, which I hope it looks good on the screen, even though I don't really think we need it because it is very well lit. And as soon as you get right in here to the cavern, you see the very first stalactites. That is so cool. And there is a lot of water dripping from the ceiling, so you may get a little wet, but this is amazing. It's been so long since I've actually been in caverns. You can imagine, this is how they actually form the water. The limestone comes down, and just over thousands of years, you can tell that these have since been broken off, but you'll see that they'll start to form again. This is amazing, and you can get so up close and personal to all of the structures. It's really important. They will remind you, do not touch anything. The oils on our hands can destroy thousands and thousands of years worth of formation. But it is absolutely gorgeous in here, and I'm going to shut up and let you guys just enjoy how beautiful these caverns are.
Here you are. This is going to be the amphitheater of Luray Caverns. This is the second spot down in the caverns. You're going to be seeing a lot of different colorization and a lot of different formation types while you're in this area. The red color to start off is actually iron oxide. Reddish orange color, it's going to be the prominent mineral throughout the caverns today. You're going to be seeing hints of white that are down here. This is calcite or calcium carbonate. And then the black that you'll see is the manganese oxide. You'll see a lot of these caverns formations on top of the ceiling here. These are going to be called stalactites. They hang tight to the ceiling. Water comes through the ground, through the formation. It takes about 120 years per cubic inch to grow. Same thing for the stalagmites that are scattered throughout the walkways today. 120 years per cubic inch. This one right here would be an example of what's called flowstone. Now this formation does have a little bit of a different growth pattern. Basically what will happen, the water will flow over top of the formation, taking about 300 years per cubic inch to grow. Throughout the caverns, you're going to be seeing a little bit of hints of green. This is actually called cave algae or cave moss. Basically, when we come through the caverns, we'll attract plant spores onto our clothes. These find the heat of the lamps and the moisture of the rock suitable for photosynthesis to happen. It doesn't harm the caverns in any sort of way. Basically, what we do to maintain this, our maintenance team will come through with a chemical mixture that they're able to spray on the formations. Doesn't harm them in any sort of way, and it knocks all the formation or the cave algae and the cave moss off the rocks. And they're able to dispose of it. So that's the best way that we can maintain them. But with the lights being on all day and it being a self-guided tour, it does get a little harder to maintain. But we're able to do that every week or so. When we were doing the construction down in the caverns, it was about the 1950s or so. What they tell me, it's all the way until about the early 2000s. Basically, we had a lot going on down here. We were trying to put in these brick and cemented walkways and the handrails for our guests. But basically what we had to do, we had to cut some of the formations just to give room for the walkways and the handrails. So a lot of them do appear to be cut, but that was just for safety measures, of course, and put in our walkways and handrails. Here within the next 5 minutes to a spot that we call Dream Lake. Now this is 2,500 square foot. Large, 16, 18 inches deepest point. It actually gives off a perfect reflection of the ceiling.
Zoom in here, I want to show you guys that this, what you're looking at, is actually a perfect reflection of the ceiling. This is water. So up on top, right here, this is the ceiling. And then down below, right here, this is all water. It is so incredibly clear. You cannot tell the difference between what is water and what is actually rock. That's how clear it is. So right here you can kind of tell just because of the edge where the water starts. But as I zoom in, this stalactite, now I know how to remember it, they hold on tight to the ceiling, goes down, touches the water, and it looks like a column. That's absolutely beautiful. I actually had to do a double take because I thought this was water down here because it's such a perfect reflection, but it's actually not water. It really is this deep. And it just goes on and on. So there are various stops here, and they're numbered, and you can cross-reference them to your guide here. But you know, I'm a huge Pluto fan, so of course I had to get Pluto's ghost. This is not the Pluto that I love, though. This is not Disney's Pluto. But when cross-referencing here, Pluto's ghost, this is in reference to this entire chamber, this entire cavern here. And they are referencing it to Pluto, the god of the underworld. And it is 500 feet in length, 90 feet in depth. And it is absolutely amazing. Do watch your head in some areas as it can get a little low. As I'm walking to the next location, let's talk about temperature for a second. Mid 50s, but let me tell you, I'm sweating. It is very humid. There is a lot of water, which is what creates caves in the first place. So a lot of water dripping from the ceiling, and like I said, I'm sweating. So I would never need a jacket in here. But if you're someone that's really cold all the time, maybe a light jacket. But like I said, I'm sweating. Here's an example of something that Hayden was talking about, where they actually had to cut part of the stalactite because they needed to make room for the handrail and the walkway. Which, I mean, it's kind of sad that they had to cut and damage it, but without doing so, we wouldn't be able to come in here and explore. So this room right here, this is the largest of the rooms, caverns. This is the largest cavern of all the entire caverns. And this structure right here, this is the giant redwood and overlook. Now, what really boggles my mind about this is it is 7 million years old. 7 million years old. And videos, pictures, it just doesn't do it justice of how it looks in here. It's absolutely gorgeous. Can you imagine that this structure, also the giant redwood, which kind of looks like a waterfall to me, 7 million years old. behind me was invented in 1957. It is the original organ, and it takes an act of Congress to get somebody to play it. It's not very often that somebody actually comes into the cathedral and plays it, because it's a one of one, and if anything goes wrong with it, they are unable to repair it. But when he was alive, Mr. Rogers came here and he played the organ. A couple other famous people have been in here and played the organ, but what they do is there's a button that they press, and you see behind me up above, you can listen right now. So that sound that you're hearing is up above. You'll see some wires and little pieces of metal that actually will tap on stalactites, and that is the sound of the tapping of the stalactites vibrating through the stone and into the cavern itself. It's pretty cool. So that was the caverns. Now I timed it. I went in at exactly 11 a.m. and I walked out at exactly 1 p.m. So 2 hours it took for me. You can totally do it faster than that. I just really took my time and took it all in. It's beautiful in there. It's non-strenuous at all. I saw people with strollers and wheelchairs and dogs. You're supposed to carry your dogs the whole time. And it's amazing how up and close and personal you get to all of these amazing stalagmites and stalactites. It's absolutely worth it. I wasn't cold at all. Like I said, I was sweating in there. So yeah, those are the caverns, and I thought it was amazing. So next up on the list, we're going to head to the old antique car museum, which I hear is really awesome. Let's go check that out next. car and carriage and caravan old antique museum. If you like old antique cars and 1920s, 1930s Rolls Royces and old carriages, that's a place for you. Really cool, all original. They're the real deal. So definitely worth some money today. Next up we have Town Junction. If you got kids, I'm sure they're gonna love this one. That was Town Junction. It's small, but it's cute. And I'm curious if any of my more senior viewers recognize some of the toys from their childhood in there. I recognized a couple, and I'm not even that old, but seeing anything from your childhood in a museum makes you feel old. Also in that building, there's a small cafe. You can get some food and refreshments. Now, at the beginning of this video, I said that there are a couple other attractions here that you can do for an upcharge. And one of those is the garden maze. And the other is the ropes course. So the ropes course is right over there. It does look a lot of fun, but I don't see anybody on it right now. The garden maze is right here, and I would do it. It's only $12 for adults and $8 for children. I just think that if I went in here, I would never find my way out. All right, and the last stop, or should I say second to the last stop, because you know the last stop is always the gift shop, is going to be taking a step back in time as we head into the Shenandoah Heritage Village. Let's go. So at the end of the museum, of course, it ends in a gift shop. You get with your ticket one free gemstone. I'm probably like destroying the name, euconite stone, which is a local semi-precious stone, and they come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors. My kid likes red, so I got the reddest one I could find. And it says here that it typically occurs in rivers and valleys, having been washed down from the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's considered, again, semi-precious stone, often used in jewelry, making stone carvings. Euconite is also popular as a healing stone used to draw out negative energy and may aid with anxiety, stress, and sleeplessness. Maybe I should keep it. Right, so no attraction is complete without a trip to the main gift shop. And I say main gift shop because this place has like 3 or 4 gift shops, but this is the main one. So let's see if we're gonna get in any trouble. Out of the gift shop with only buying 2 magnets, which came out to about $15, so not horrible. Not too bad at all. Also, total time, I got here at 11 a.m. and it is now 2:30 p.m., so 3.5 hours, and I really took my time. I didn't read everything because if you're gonna read everything, you'll be here all day. But again, I took my time. You can do it faster, or you can really get into the history and read every little piece and plaque that is on every single exhibit, and then you will be here probably all day. But 3.5 hours for me just cruising around, not on any time frame at all, that was plenty for me. This time of year, the caverns open at 9 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. So there is plenty of time in the day to come whenever time frame works best for you and spend as much time or as little time as you like. Folks, that is going to conclude the full tour of Luray Caverns here in Luray, Virginia. I had a great time. I hope you had a great time. So much history here. And again, going back to as old as 400 million years ago, my brain can't even compute. There is a lot to do here, and for $36, you can't beat it if you're in the area. If you like this video, do me a huge favor, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It really helps me out. And yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Have you been here before? And if you have, what was your favorite part? So that's what I got for you guys. I am here in the West Virginia area for a couple weeks, so I am getting out there and trying to do as much as I can for you guys and for me, because you know what, life is an adventure and I'm here to share it with you. So until that next adventure, take care of yourselves and of course each other. Peace.